What's up, everyone? Welcome to USA Rugby Issues. As promised, we have a lot of Major League Rugby news. It's coming. So, as discussed in the Rugby Strategy 2020 video, a professional framework is a part of the USA Rugby Strategy 2020, whether that was a continuation of the professional rugby organization or others, such as, Guinness Pro 12 coming, or, this. So, the Major League Rugby website is live. Went live about mid-February, and you can get there, www. You don't really have to use the World Wide Web thing anymore, but usmlr.com. They are at USMLR on Twitter, and Facebook.com Major League Rugby. See, the look of the website is extremely clean, extremely professional. It's just there. It provides you contact information for press inquiries. You can contact Rugby United Marketing for all media, and here we go. So, as I said, Rugby United Marketing. So the Major League Rugby has stood up a separate marketing entity called Rugby United Marketing. They will be handling all marketing for the 9 franchises within Major League Rugby as far as the national sphere is concerned. Diana Anderson, who is currently the Director of Marketing for Infinity Park in Glendale, Colorado, has also been named the Director of Marketing for Major League Rugby as employed by Rugby United Marketing. She has been interviewed by both Matt McCarthy and Jason Graves, and I gotta say, Jason Graves kind of was a victim of being the first to the punch. He found her, but because of this deliberate rollout of information, he didn't really get much. But Matt McCarthy, probably because of a previous relationship developed in having a higher profile in the rugby sphere, was able to get more, but I think it was more based on their schedule of release of information. So you can find that at Rugby Wrap Up for Matt McCarthy's interview, and at the Runner Sports for Jason Graves. As I said, the information rollout seems to be very deliberate with all of this, which is smart, and it's extremely professional. You don't really have a lot of big-time media paying attention just yet, which is kind of interesting per se. But that makes me think that, all these articles that appeared in The Guardian and The Mail, the big rugby press, big mainstream rugby press, were sort of paid for. The teams for Major League Rugby have been confirmed. And they are the teams that were previously discussed: the Austin Huns, the Dallas Griffins, the Glendale Raptors, the Rugby Utah Select, New Orleans Rugby Football Club, the Seattle Saracens, the Houston Strikers, Chicago Lions, and the Kansas City Blues. Things to take away from both interviews: MLR is coming. Without a regard to the professional rugby organization sanctioning agreement. So if PRO is able to stand up a season for 2017 and maintain their sanctioning, MLR is coming in 2018. They are ready to go. And there will be some news on PRO that I'll discuss later in the video. So MLR understands the potential for litigation with the PRO sanctioning agreement as far as that's concerned. And these guys are ready to move forward and ready to fight. They're built to be inclusive, so they would be willing to absorb some of the teams from pro, provided that they met the expansion standards for the league. And because, again, they're being inclusive, eventually it's not, they aren't really clear how far they want to expand to, but you're thinking at least for the top level of a premiership style of play, so top division, between 24 and 32 teams at maturity. We're, in the incubation stage with 9 teams. Also, the 9 teams that were selected meet the current standards. There has been some interest from clubs on both coasts, other than the one club on the West Coast, which is the Seattle Saracens. But they wanted to get their stuff in order to meet these standards. So these 9 clubs are the ones that are going to go forward. We might have 1 or 2 more that get included by the expansion committee in, at the launch of this league. We might not. So let's get into baseline standards that were discussed. So, as by my understanding, there won't be really a draft, much like the NFL or MLS or the Major League Baseball. You'll have it's more or less academy style coming out of university. Guys can go direct and get signed, and they'll play in their system. Most of these programs already have Division I, Division II, and Division III sides, and high school and youth. So having a youth program was a significant portion of selection to being included in this league and for expansion. So if you don't have a youth wing that is healthy, or if you just don't have a youth wing, even though you're a strong club, don't expect it to get included in this league, because part of what they are about is philanthropy back to the rugby community, and how you give back to the rugby community is by significantly growing the game at the youth level. Because if you look at all sports, the biggest level is ASO for soccer, Little League for baseball. Then you look at Pee Wee, Junior All-American, all for Pop Warner. So the youth level is the largest segment of the population when it comes to sports. So rugby right now in the United States is a very top-heavy program, and that has to change for us to be healthy going forward and be competitive across the world when it comes to our national team. And they have a vested interest in that success. Then another one was control of a modern venue and practice facility. Look at Infinity Park as the example. A lot of these teams are building from the ground up. I think the Glendale Raptors are the only facility that is hard stand right now. The Huns are building a facility. The Rugby Utah is building a facility, and the Houston Strikers are building a facility. All of these teams have to have their facility in place by next year, and so everyone's putting in the work. We've already seen plans for the Austin Huns facility. Houston's interesting because they're building their entire program from the ground up. So I think it will be an interesting case study to look at them, because Houston Strikers, although it's an old name in the rugby community, the club doesn't really exist at this point. So they're putting all their youth structure and their club structure in place within the next 18 months. Again, back to the facility. So as I said, modern. The stadium will seat a minimum of 4,000 patrons, so they're not looking for a NFL partnership at this point in time because, a 77,000 person stadium doesn't fit where the sport is at this juncture. However, if you look at Infinity Park as the model, about 7,000 seats when it expands for big time tournaments. A modern PA system, the ability to conduct broadcasts and webcasts, TMO, and digital replay screens. Fan experience, fan activation, and sponsor activation. So you have sponsor activation is when you watch, the games on the television. You have sponsors like rotating on the field, as well as digital sponsors for when you do your webcast. As I said, everyone is building pretty much other than Glendale, because Glendale has Infinity Park. And then you have negotiations with local broadcast partners. The model here is the Austin Huns, because they have their games on Spectrum in addition to YouTube. The biggest thing they're going to face, I think, is access, and you need to provide free access to grow this game with broadcast revenue. So the Major League Rugby Press Conference is going to be in June. And that's not really centered around the fact that pro season being around the end point, if it starts. But it's centered around the fact that you have the Club National Championships, you have the MRC Championship, and the Rugbytown Sevens going down at that time. So that's the main news for the national franchise. Now let's get into news for the different clubs. So Rugby Utah announced their elite coaching staff. Blake Burdett, who's a capped Eagle, he was a collegiate All-American and coached the University of Utah and Penn State, is the head coach. Assisting him is Ben Nichols, who will be coaching the backs while also playing for now. He played for South Africa and Zimbabwe. And then Jason Hope will serve as the team manager for Rugby Utah. Austin Huns have hired former Springbok Pedri Wannenberg as the defense and forwards coach. He has 320 caps, having played professionally for the Bulls, Ulster, Cast, and Oyonnax. Most recently, he played for the Denver Stampede. So he's played a lot of games. He also has 3 Super Rugby titles and 5 Currie Cup titles to his name. So Pedri has played a lot of rugby. And he will bring something to the table for the Austin Huns. So the Austin Huns are going to be playing that Southern Hemisphere style and very South African style of ball. Now for the weird. This is what I don't understand. I'll link this down below, but the city of Glendale, Colorado owns the trademarks for the Glendale Raptors, which I don't understand that at all since it's a private club. Then you have on February 24th, the city applied for the trademark of Major League Rugby in regards to clothing. So all things, sweatshirt, beanie, hat, polo related, they applied for that trademark. And then on the 1st of March, they applied for the Major League Rugby trademark for use in entertainment and promotions. As Major League Rugby is supposed to be a LLC operated in joint membership by the 9 LLCs that control the professional sides of the 9 clubs, why would the city register the trademarks? I don't really understand. And going forward, I will give a preview of Major League Rugby 2018 at the end of MRC play, and as more news comes out, we'll definitely do an analysis and publish that.